This morning when I did my activation, I was so curious what would be coming through to share today. And nothing came. And I thought, oh, what is gonna go on? But I just had this knowing that something would happen in my daily life that would come up to share. And so as I was driving down the road, down the highway, and there was a lane where cars are merging, I was right beside, well, I was in the lane that was going, and then there's a merging lane beside me. And there was this big truck that was coming up the merging lane that instead of merging further back, zoomed ahead of the cars so they could merge right at the last second to get in. And as I'm driving there, I'm thinking, I have boundaries, and I I didn't want to let this guy in. And that was my ego, of course, thinking, oh, you just zoom by, trying to get in, and I don't want to let you in. Well, it turns out this driving a very, very big truck, and I'm in a little car, and and I was saying I have boundaries, but the truck was just so big and it was running out of room, and so I basically felt like I had to let him in. And then, and the other thing was there was tons of space behind me. So looking in my rear view, there's a ton of space that could have gone behind me. But no, they had their mindset that they were going in front of me. And so I just was like, okay, I surrender. And he goes in front of me, and as soon as he does, out of the exhaust pipe comes all this black smoke, and it goes all in through my cabin, and I just smell all this stinky black smoke. And then I was like, obviously that was not a preferred situation for me. Uh, and I was like, oh, there's something more here, because I attracted that for a reason. I went through this, it's teaching me something. I looked up and I saw another car, and they had a 222 license plate, which to me means trust the journey, is what I read 222 as. And so I see this 222 and I'm like, okay, what is the lesson in here for me? And I realized that was the gift that I was given to share today. That this would be an extension of the video from yesterday, Boundaries Without Resistance, Part 2. And so what I learned from that situation is that boundaries without resistance, they are not boundaries that we control or enforce in the physical. Because whenever we try to control or force, that is resistance. By the very virtue of trying to force something or control the outcome, I can't control what someone else is thinking, what they are choosing. That's them. And by me being bothered by that, that was actually me making this person guilty, which was judgment, which is fear. And so I realized, oh wow, this mirror I turn on myself, and I realized that boundaries are not about the external. And that was what that vision yesterday was trying to show me, were that boundaries that are out of alignment are resistance based, and they're like physical boundaries. But boundaries that are in alignment are within us. And even though I use the word subtle, they are so much more powerful than any external boundary that we could create. And why is that? Is because we create our reality from our vibration and from our energy. And when we are feeling a loving emotion, which is even neutrality. There's joy in neutrality. If I had been just going down the road and just completely neutral, not trying to force something, this actually signals the reality to align more to my liking. So whenever we're in a vibration of love, feeling a loving emotion, which is any emotion that feels expansive and free. It's a complete opposite of fearful emotions, which are constricting, tense, and small. And so when we feel a loving emotion, even if it's literally just neutrality, we feel free, we feel at peace. Peace is another great one. So you can see that the boundaries that are in alignment are actually internal boundaries. They're not external, yet because our internal shapes are external, the internal boundaries actually create the external. And I have 3 examples to show this playing out in my life that I have been called to share today. So one of them actually happened last year around this time, and where there was this guy where I go to exercise, and I would always see him there, and would always say hi and whatnot. And one day he was like hanging around with me like the entire time I was there and talking, and like everything I wanted to do, he gave like this solution to make it happen. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like, is this, me manifesting this stuff for myself? Is this me attracting the right people to help me, experience these things? And then at the end, he wanted to give me his phone number, and because I was in that kind of like curious state, I didn't know. I was quite excited about the prospect of someone being able to assist me to live all these dreams, of course. And so he wanted to give me his phone number, so I took down his phone number. But thank goodness my exercise phone didn't have a SIM card, because normally I would have texted the person so they'd have my number, but I couldn't because I didn't have a SIM card. So I had his number, and then I came home and I tuned in to spirit, and spirit. When I say spirit, I also mean my higher self, my soul, my heart. And I tuned in, and what I received was that no, this is not my highest timeline to pursue, to do things with this person, because they wanted me in a sexual way, whereas I was looking for a friend to have adventures with. So there was a disconnect there, and also a vibrational difference that if I would have continued engaging in a relationship sense, and then their vibration may have gone up, but mine likely would have gone down, just because it wasn't in alignment with where I was at. So it wasn't going to help me grow any. And so, but I felt during my time with them, all those times I talked to them, I was able to give them every piece of information to help them grow that I could. So I felt good about that. But I realized, okay, this relationship, it's not in alignment with my highest timeline. And so very simple to me is just like, no, okay, I only want to do what's optimal for me and what I am guided to do. And I bring up this example because sometimes we think, we start learning about manifestation and we think, oh my gosh, I attracted this perfect person that's going to help me live my dreams. But until you tune into their real intentions, it could be just a test or a challenge, which I realized that was what it was for me. Not saying that that can't happen and it can't be amazing and completely in alignment. That's totally true, and that would be awesome, and I would love that for you if that's what you're looking for. But I share this, my experience, just so you know, sometimes you need to look a little deeper. And also when you come to a point where you don't really need anything, you already know everything is going to happen for you in the best timing and in the best way for you, you're not so desperate to take anything that looks like it's that. What's coming to share is like all that glitters, or some sort of saying about sometimes what we think is gold is really not. So yeah, and what happened here is that I realized that what I was going to say to this person next time they talk to me was, I'm not interested. It was just going to be that simple, straightforward. I was just going to say, I'm not interested. And not in a rude way or condescending, or just being honest and truthful and setting that boundary. Well, the wild thing is I went to go exercise thinking the person was going to be there, and they weren't. Then the next time I go, I was thinking, oh, they're going to be there today, and they weren't. They literally vanished from my reality. And so this shows that when we create that internal boundary, it's like it signals to the field and even the multidimensional aspects of the other humans, like, that you have made your choice. You have made your boundary. And that boundary was so firm internally that the person literally ceased to exist in my reality. I haven't seen them since. And I saw them like literally almost every other day for a really long time. And then they just vanished. So there was that one. And then another one was I had a conversation with someone, and I feel like I can have a conversation with literally anyone and get along with anyone, but I realized that other people don't experience that as much, and so when they do, they kind of like want to hold on to it, or just kind of like experience that again, I guess. And so, and also as awakened ones, we carry a high frequency. We realize what we are. So we are embodying more of the love of who we truly are. And so that is literally attractive to every human on planet Earth. So it just is what it is. And I remember having this conversation, and then after, and I actually had this inkling before I talked to this person to maybe not talk to them or keep it short, but I didn't listen, and I was kind of went into my old people pleaser mode of just making, giving this person the best time I could, in just casual conversation. Anyway, after that, I knew it was not meant for me to engage with them again. Yet they still kept trying. And this is one where I received the exact things to do. And the other interesting thing is I had examples of other humans in my life doing things that showed me how to interact with this person. So I was literally given the examples by other humans with how to navigate this situation. And so after about 4 times of receiving different things, they just vanished. And that was because I stayed true. I received, I took the information, the guidance coming to me from my outer reality that I had attracted to show me how to navigate this scenario. And I had used that, and I had set a firm boundary in my mind that I was no longer going to engage with this human being. And that was not my, if it was my ego, I would have kept on smiling and being all nice and whatever. But when I started listening to my higher self, I realized that I'm not to just be giving my energy away to everyone willy-nilly like that. And so I gave them what I could. I gave them that time, and then that was done. And so yeah, and that was the fascinating thing, is that once it was so secure in my mind, the boundary, that the human just vanished, and I didn't even have to do anything or think about it anymore. And then the third one that came up to share was someone, and again, I had this kind of like, oh yeah, the first time I actually spoke to them, they gave me an example of how to deal with someone else. Like, it was totally unpreferred. But that was the example that I received on how to deal with someone else. So after that happened, I felt so thankful to this person that whenever I saw them, I said hi and I smiled and whatnot. Even though the very first time they treated me in a way that was just didn't feel good. But it didn't feel bad either. Like I said, it was unpreferred, but it taught me something, so I was so thankful for it. So yeah, I guess I'm also learning to not take things so seriously and just learn from everything. And but anyway, that this guy, he was an older guy, and I could sense he also had this kind of sexual thing going on. I would see him staring at the girls and whatnot. And one day it crossed the line. So one day I was doing a certain exercise, and this guy, like, I felt my hair touch someone, and he's standing like right there, and then he's just smiling at me, and this breaks my, well, there's no such thing as heartbreak, but it was crushing to me because I looked up and I smiled at this person, and I was like, no, like, I can't believe I just did that. That was the people pleaser reaction. And I've noticed this so much, is that when someone crosses their boundaries, they just laugh, and they like play it off like it's nothing and just smile and laugh. And then I realized, oh my gosh, if I keep smiling at this person and stuff, they're just gonna keep, what next, right? And I asked Spirit, I tuned into my higher self, and what I received is to just give them nothing. So I didn't receive anything to say. I didn't receive anything to do. It was literally nothing. Just give them nothing. I was like, I kept asking, oh, what if this? What if that? It's like just nothing. And so sometimes we'll receive from spirit that's the boundary. Is just you're not going to engage in the physical anymore. No more smiles, no more hellos, no more nothing. And even if they want to try again, you still just give nothing. And so that is what I did. And then eventually they disappeared. So what this led me to realize today is that when we have a boundary that's in alignment, it's like it's a something with ourself that it's a choice we make internally. It's an inner choice that we are not going to put up with something. We're not trying to control something in the outer world and control what someone does or what someone says. We're controlling what we are thinking and feeling about this. And so what I felt with the one that I was guided to just do nothing is I actually ended up feeling so much compassion for this person. And my definition of compassion is basically unconditional love for someone who you can see. It's like empathy plus unconditional love. You can feel what they're going through, and you can see a better way, but they are the ones that need to make the choice to learn and grow from certain situations. We can't make anyone learn and grow or any of that. That's their choice, just like it was our choice. So I just felt so much compassion and so much like love, and then they vanished. But when I was feeling resistance, like right after that happened with my hair, I was feeling all this resistance, and then I kept seeing them. They kept coming, saying different stuff to me, and I was just nothing, because that was what I was guided to. So the guidance has helped me so much in the physical, but then I had to bring the mental and the emotional up to speed, so I was in coherence. So to be able to feel love, to be able to think thoughts that are in alignment. So feeling compassion, thinking thoughts like I'm grateful for this person for helping me in this way. And yeah, once you're at that frequency, you are in alignment when you are feeling a loving emotion. And so, and you honestly, it's impossible to feel a loving emotion when you're thinking thoughts that are not conducive to that. Because the thoughts signal the emotions. So it is when we're thinking thought like gratitude, then we feel gratitude. We can also do it the other way. We can start feeling first. We can feel gratitude, then we'll start having grateful thoughts. But if we're feeling resistance, we're going to have to shift out of that to get back to a loving state. So this kind of brings it full circle, this boundaries without resistance. It's an internal choice, and it's a choice to put ourselves first. And by putting ourselves first, we are going to be vibrating higher. And so that is going to help everyone else. The more higher we are vibrating, the higher the community, the higher the earth, the higher the collective. So whenever we choose what's in alignment, when we choose something that we feel good about, this is the best we can do for the whole, and including that other person. Because like I mentioned in the last video, we are a mirror for them. And so that is the greatest service we could do, is to follow our intuitive guidance, the information coming from within, from our higher self, from our heart, and go with that. And that's going to be best for all parties involved. And so, yeah, that's what I have to say today. That's what came through. And so that's, yeah, all thanks to that truck that just really wanted to go in front of me on the road. And now I feel so good about it. I'm so grateful and thankful. And I realize these boundaries that are alignment are internal. It's because what we give our energy to, we're giving our power away to. So what we give our attention to, we're giving our energy to, we're giving our power away to. So when I was seeing that truck driver this morning and I was feeling bothered, I was giving my power away. Yet now when I think of the guy in the truck and everything, I just feel so thankful, and I'm so glad it happened. And I know I attracted that to help me make sense of this, and also to share with you, because that was definitely a purpose of why it happened. So yeah, I will leave it there. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, and wishing you all the best. Much love.